Happy birthday, Jacob Williams.
Happy Saturday.
And where did I go wrong? I lost a friend.
What's going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video. That's right, you guys, it is Saturday, so welcome back to the Saturday Chat and Chill, where we kick back, relax, and talk about one topic in the King of Fighters All-Star community. But before we get into this week's Saturday Chat and Chill, if you guys are new here to the channel and you enjoy daily King of Fighters All-Star content such as this, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. And let's go ahead and get into this week's Saturday Chat and Chill, because this week we have a topic that has been very, very hot in the community lately, and that is, of course, the topic of power creep. Yes, everybody's favorite topic to talk about when it comes to any gacha game is, of course, going to be power creep, and that is going to be what we're tackling this week, because we have had some major tectonic shifts over the course of the past 8 or 9 months. And I just wanted to go ahead and give you guys some of my thoughts with recent events, especially as it pertains to the recent SS Volume 3 banner. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a little bit of a history lesson here first, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into what I feel like is a topic that basically Netmarble has opened Pandora's box on, and at this point it is too late to close that door. So let's get into it. Now, in order to properly cover the topic of power creep, I feel like it's only right that we go back to the beginning, to a time that feels like it was about 20 years ago now in COVID years, but try to follow along with me and I will try to catch you guys up to speed. But we're going to go back to the holiday season of 2020, and during that time we had been given our latest collaboration at the time in the form of the 7 Nights collaboration. And for those of you who are not around for that collab, allow me to give you guys a bit of a brief history lesson about how things went around that time. But basically, the community lost its collective shit whenever that collaboration hit the game, and the reason for that, there were a couple. The main one was the fact that Netmarble had chosen to crank the power creep up to 11 with that collaboration, and they had chosen an IP that was something that was in-house. And for those of you who do not know what that means, basically 7 Nights is a game, a mobile game to be exact, that is a Netmarble property that they came up with themselves, and therefore a lot of people in the community were very upset that we had not seen a collaboration be that powerful and that impactful on the metagame in a very, very long time, maybe even arguably ever. And so therefore the fact that they chose an in-house property really did rub people the wrong way. And of course that collaboration featured such characters as Dellins, Eileen, Rachel, Rudy, Shane, etc., etc. And that collaboration admittedly was extremely powerful and is still relevant to the PvE meta to this day. But of course Netmarble didn't stop there, because they quickly followed up the 7 Nights collaboration with what would become the new model for banners going forward, with the first Boss Syndrome Volume 1 banner featuring Omega Rugal and Orochi. And that banner itself was one that really did turn the tides when it came to the power creep in this game, because if 7 Nights had turned the meta on its head, then really the first Boss Syndrome banner completely threw it for a 180. And at that point we had seen the writing on the wall, and we kind of knew what we were expecting going forward, because before all of this had happened, we really had lived and died off of the unified banner for new characters, which was really largely like playing Russian roulette whenever they released a new character on that banner, because at times you would get a character such as a Mr. Karate who was extremely powerful, or you would get characters that were really just nothing major or nothing important, such as your Hotarus and so on and so forth, that maybe outside of a niche use really didn't have much of anything to offer to players when it came to just general PvE content. But when it came to that, of course, here we are now. We have 3 BS banners, we have 3 SS banners. We're more than likely going to be getting into our 4th BS banner over the course of the next couple of weeks, and the power creep as a result has been nothing short of crazy over the course of the past 9 months. So here we are now with our latest SS banner, which brings us to SSK and SS Kula. Of course, this is recent history, so I'm sure you guys know exactly what I'm talking about here, but whenever this banner was announced, there was a ton of hype behind it. We got those teaser images, the first one being of Kay, and of course, with that art looking as good as it did, people got really excited. These are two characters that people had expected to see on an SS banner, and therefore, whenever it did finally happen, a lot of people got really happy, because of course, those two characters are fan favorites, whether you like them on a personal level or not. A lot of people out there really like these characters and expected them to be something completely meta shifting, just like we had become accustomed to over the course of that 9 months. However, we now know that that did not happen. SSK ended up being a character that is extremely mid, and then Kula, of course, is going to be the standout on this banner, but even then, that is a character that right now does have only isolated uses in PvE. As we've talked about before, that can always change. She's an extremely good character, but again, the power creep as well as the overall power level of this banner is definitely going to be a step down from what we have come to expect. Before SSK, arguably the weakest SS character that we had seen was SS Iori, but there is a case to be made for those two either way. And then with the Boss Syndrome banners, the weakest character that you could probably point out there is going to be Boss Syndrome Orochi, which, yes, I know somebody in the comment section is going to get triggered over the fact that I pointed that out, but I get it. It's fine. You like Orochi, move on. But when it comes to the power creep, at the end of the day, I think that what Netmarble has really done is they have conditioned players to feel like whenever they release a new limited banner, it is going to be the new flavor of the month. It is going to be the best thing since the last thing. And players out there that are preparing for these banners have been talking for a very long time about how they do not like the model of the power creep. And there are a lot of reasons as to why. If you're a whale, then of course you only have so many resources at your disposal, and you're only going to be willing to spend so much on a game before it starts to not be worth it. And then for the free-to-play players that are going to be suffering the most from the FOMO that is instilled whenever they decide that they're going to power creep from one banner to the next, that is going to start driving those players out in a big way. So of course Netmarble had to decide whether or not they were going to just put the lid back on this or attempt to, and it feels like that in some small way with this newest special signature banner that they did attempt to do that. Now of course we've already done spotlights on both of these characters, and both of these characters are not bad. In fact, Kula is extremely good. Kay, as I have mentioned, is mid, but at the same time, a mid type of special signature character is not the type of thing that a lot of people have grown accustomed to, and despite the fact that there are definitely going to be upsides to doing this on the Netmarble side, I can also appreciate that on the other side of that spectrum, the players that are going to be fans or super fans of the characters that are released that aren't going to be on that level as far as the power creep is concerned are going to feel personally offended or going to feel personally attacked in some way, because of course they wanted their favorite character to be on the same level as the characters they've been seeing, because that's what they've come to expect from Netmarble. And unfortunately, this is the position that a lot of people are in. If you are a super fan of Kay, then of course you know this feeling all too well. But at the same time, the entire reason why I am even making this video today is because I want people to understand that at a certain point, Netmarble does have to start closing the door a little bit on the power creep issue, because if they do continue to go down this road like they have for the past 9 months, this type of breakneck pace is not sustainable, and unfortunately it does affect everyone in the game. You know, people can say whales gonna whale all they want and say that whales don't necessarily care about this type of thing. However, I've spoken to several whales. I know a ton of different whales in the community, and whales themselves have also been getting burnt out because of the power creep and the FOMO, because they feel like they have to be dropping money each and every single banner in order to be able to keep up with the meta, and this is something that just should not be the case for any game if it wants to have any sort of longevity. So I do think that we can see it from both sides. As an example, if they ever get around to releasing an SS King, which I'm no longer holding my breath for, then of course that would mean that if she isn't as good as I'm expecting her to be, or as good as some of these other characters that we've seen, I too would be feeling this. So I can totally see both sides. However, I would also have to just come to terms with the fact that because we had recently gotten the Dead or Alive collaboration, it just is not a good idea for them to be releasing character character after character that is going to be on the same power level tier as those characters, because let's face it, whether we like that collaboration or not, I personally was a pretty big fan of what they did with it. However, with that collaboration, if every character from here forward is on that level, then that is going to pretty much phase out a ton of characters in a very quick fashion. So it's a tough, delicate balance to strike when it comes to any mobile game, and Netmarble really did bring this problem upon themselves by continuing to power creep banner after banner for so long. If it would have been a situation where they would have just sequestered it to a banner here or a banner there, that would have been one thing. But of course, as we all are aware, that was not the way that they decided to go with things, and here we are. So in the end, this is a self-inflicted wound. Any sort of outrage over this newest SS banner is totally brought on by Netmarble themselves, and they only have themselves to blame. But I'm curious to know you guys' thoughts in the comments section down below. I know that this is a very hot topic right now, and a lot of people are really upset about the situation. I just wanted to lay out both sides and give people kind of the silver linings as well to this, because I do feel like there are several of them, and really if we look at the bigger picture when it comes to the game as a whole, then obviously this was the right thing to do. However, there is always the case to be made that Netmarble did unfortunately bring this upon themselves, and there's not much else that can be said about that in that regard. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I would love to hear it. I will be back on Monday with our next video, but you guys try to enjoy your weekends and try to stay safe out there. Like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and would like to see more, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. You all take care. Peace.
Our opinion.